This is a certified hood classic.
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. So? What'll that make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide. How to lie. Me, I don't have that problem. Me, I always tell the truth. Even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy.
Sakafet, what's up to all my beautiful people from all corners of the world, and welcome to the podcast on this Sunday afternoon. Today, I got a little bit on my mind, and we got a little bit to discuss on where I have been. There was to be an episode last week, and that fell through because I needed to build a new PC. So the current rig I had, decided that it wanted to have some voltage issues, and the motherboard decided it didn't want to work properly anymore. So I've upgraded to an all-new 2023 rig, basically with some good old top-of-the-line PC master race type happenings inside it. And I think we won't be having any more trouble missing podcast episodes anytime in the near future. So I do apologize. The special on the myths and lies surrounding being a baby mama, that's still coming. I do have my guest still lined up for that. She is eagerly waiting, Miss Queen Sunkissed, excuse me. So we will get that episode off the ground soon. In other news, I got a little bit of off topic, just global news to share with y'all today. Something I found real interesting that has to do with nature. All right, as always, technology betrays you, but we're up. All right, so here we go. Orcas have sunk 3 boats in Europe and appear to be teaching others to do the same. So basically, we're at a point where Mother Nature's like, fuck y'all. Scientists think a traumatized orca initiated an assault on boats after a critical moment of agony, and that the behavior is spreading among the population through social learning. So they've been attacking boats off the Iberian coast of Europe, along the strait there, and they're sinking yachts. I believe throughout 2020, they've sunk around 100 different yachts. Or here we go, in more than 500 interactions recorded since 2020. There are three sunken ships. Excuse me. So, here's the quote. We estimate the killer whales only touch 1 ship out of every 100 that sail through the location. So 1 out of 100 ships possibly are sunk by pissed off orcas. And apparently the way that it works is that they are predicting is that one orca was caught in a fisherman's net or was caught up under a boat that may have been shipping, a big shipping boat through that area, and in distress, it yelled out to the other orcas, and now we have basically a learned skill where they're where they're actually teaching young orcas how to assault, how to back up and then charge at these boats from underwater and topple them over. So yeah, Mother Nature's pissed off, and it's kind of funny how things work like that. So I have a bit of a script laid out, regarding being the bad guy and what my perspective and what my relative position is as a pseudo public figure, as a content creator, as a part of a community and the world at large, how I present the topics I talk about, and how that is perceived by others. Right? We've all got our own perspective and our own view on how we want to present things, how we want to express ourselves. Hopefully those of us who are in this creator space are doing it for the betterment of society. Well, those of us who know that just ain't the way that it is out here. It's this is the creator space, social media. It's all just a microcosm of what the real world is, amped up, times 9,000. So a lot of what we see, what we observe is not, individuals being their genuine self, but I don't have the time to do that. And I don't live my life under false pretenses, and I don't live my life burying my head in the sand and ignoring issues in society. Now, as I express my ideas across social media, I am known for being a habitual line stepper and being more of a provocateur in the way I word my ideas. And then when I don't get any response or participation, I amp things up a bit. And that can be taken as a destructive behavior. I don't take it as such. I basically just take it as stirring up communication through provocation. And sometimes humanity needs that. And I think more so as we move forward in time and systems around us evolve, the brutal truth is needed more so than ever, especially if we expect to leave a legacy behind. That's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't give a shit about what they do and what they leave behind for others. I'm on the other side of that. I believe a positive mark on humanity and a legacy is something we all should strive to leave behind. So with my ideas, I disrupt status quo. I piss off people. I make people uncomfortable. And that is part of building my personal evolution, personal growth, and learning where my boundaries need to lie with others. And I think that that's something that resonates with a lot of us. Just like my opener, if you know, that's a line taken from the movie Scarface. And Tony's calling out all the rich and uppities in the restaurant while they're staring at him, and he's spitting the venom back in their faces about how they present themselves and who they truly are in comparison to his bad guy aesthetic. And I think a lot of that can be taken for just face value, that, there's some reflection on all parts, on all parties. Do I think I'm the end all be all knowledge and source of knowledge? No. Do I think that my opinion is one that can test the limits of individuals' experience? Yes. Do I think it can make my opinions and my topics and subject matter, do I think they can be offensive and stab at the heart of topics and subject matter that individuals want to hide? Yes. Does that make them uncomfortable? Yes. Will they strike out? Yes. Am I going to poke at them and poke at ideas that others ignore? Will I be hated? Will I be judged? So, as always, I'm hitting on the philosophical side of existence. But today we got a reaction to those very questions about the courage to be disliked. And if you are disliked, what do you have to look forward to? And how do you approach standing on your square and standing firm in the beliefs that you hold? So give me just a second here while I spin this up. As always, technical issues do not surprise me one bit. Give me just a sec. And while we're setting up, I would like to introduce a studio guest that I have here. And apologies for the delay as I was doing my opener. So this evening, I do have a studio guest live with me, big man, repping 614. Sir, please go ahead, introduce yourself.
I do everything from music, engineering, promotions, podcasting, interviewing. You name it, I do it.
And homie, we've been friends for what, about?
Shit, over 2 decades.
Yeah, over 2 decades.
Old as fuck.
Yeah. Watched everybody in the neighborhood age. Watch one another age. What else we got going on? We got insane growth in the city.
Definitely.
Yeah, 1 second here. Yeah, for some reason this, and my bad, y'all out there in the audience, you know what it is. Miss Queen, what's up? I see you out there. My bad. What I got going on today, a little bit of everything. You know how it is. Mostly I spun this up because I had some stuff on my mind. Because you know how it is. People always got something to say, but they ain't never around to talk to you and get your perspective on shit. All right, everybody. We're going philosophical here. Let me make sure we got audio. Let me hit play right quick. Let me know in the audience. Hit 1 if you are out there and you can hear the audio.
I made my first video on this channel in July 2017, after months of going back and forth. Whether or not I actually wanted to create a YouTube channel. What would people think? What if people hate the videos and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about? Who am I to talk about these topics? These were the thoughts that flooded my head. If you've ever been in a situation where you have to start something or give a presentation in front of a group of people, then I'm sure you've had a similar emotion. It's the fear of being judged, the fear that keeps us in chains and holds us bound from achieving our true potential. To understand why we care so much about what others think about us, we have to go back to the beginning of human history.
Miss Queen, you hit a 1 out there. That's, you can hear it, right? Just want to verify.
Much about what others think about us, we have
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I just heard a delay. Yeah, I can hear it too.
Man, like many other animals, evolved to be social. Our survival was dependent on close-knit communities, tribes, and clans. We would hunt together, make shelter, and protect one another from predators should they dare strike. Being together made us thrive. So, at the time, being cast out of the clan almost always meant death. Without the technologies we have today, making shelter, hunting, and protecting yourself from wildlife was almost impossible for one person to do alone. Sadly, even now that our society has evolved to a point where we no longer have to worry about predators, and we have the tools and resources to provide food, clothing, and shelter for ourselves, the need to be part of a group still has been maladapted to our current reality.
Right. So what he's saying is basically where we are, we've evolved past the reliance on one another. We can come up with the resources that we need because we have so much technology and life has moved so fast that there's a disconnect there now. We don't need that support system as much.
Right. You can have the support just sitting in your front room.
Right.
Exactly.
Then we were scared of being left out in the cold. Today we're scared of getting canceled on Twitter because of something we said.
Right.
Or getting insulted for repeating clothes on Instagram. Or getting hate comments on your YouTube video of people telling you your voice is becoming redundant and boring. You see, this feeling of being ostracized has worsened woefully because of social media. By creating likes and dislikes, we brought to light this need to feel validated and seen. In an instant, you can see just how many people support you, and that number can be addicting. It gets to the point to where we stop saying what we really want to say, and instead start saying the things we know will get us the most likes. Before you know it, you're posting certain thoughts, photos, and writing specific statements to get that attention and validation from others. How many times have you seen your favorite...
And see, this is where I hit that outlier shit where I have a little more courage than the average. I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm here to express my ideas and my thoughts. I'm not here to, conform. That hinders what I have to say. There's not going to be any, hiding my free speech from anybody. I'm not going to do that. It's just not going to happen.
Influencers and creators online suddenly sell out, where it feels like they're no longer authentic, only doing or saying the things they know will please the algorithm. I made a video about Unit 731 and the despicable things the Japanese government did in the Second World War. However, because it was not advertiser-friendly content, according to YouTube, the video didn't perform extremely well, and that's fine. This is the kind of ostracization and social conditioning that makes people fall in line and stop saying anything that might offend the people with money.
Right. So you got the people with money out here, the algorithms out here, everybody's censoring words and they're dancing around certain subject matter and certain topics because they don't want to get shadow banned or banned or kicked off of the social media platform they're on. I'm not advocating making disparaging remarks about marginalized groups or anything of that sort. And of course that there's caveats along with that as far as what I think a social justice actually is and what aren't, especially when it comes to the body positivity movement. We'll discuss that on another episode. But as we move forward here, like the ideas that we have and the ideas that challenge status quo concepts shouldn't be silenced, right?
It's like they tell you there's freedom of speech, but only when your microphone is turned off.
Exactly.
Growing up, I always felt different. Of course, I had friends and wanted to be part of the social group, but I had questions about the universe that people just didn't like to discuss. Who wants to talk about death and the afterlife on the school playground, after all? Because of that, I felt different from everyone else, like a piece of a puzzle, but from another set. And so I grew up worried that everyone would look at me as weird and different. so I tried my best to hide my existential dread to fit in like everyone else. If you're watching this video right now, there's a high chance that you were also once a kid like me who was so worried about being disliked that you shield the real you just so you wouldn't be thought of as.
And what's funny is, yep, I went through that a little bit. What brought me out of my shell with that was becoming that corny educated lame dude, and getting involved with drama, getting involved with choir, getting involved with music, and just doing all the those corny lame things that the nerds do in high school. That was what brought me out of my shell and got me out of feeling okay. If I think this way and it's different than everybody else, are they going to look at me funny? I didn't have to worry about it because I get to express myself, which is something I highly encourage all young people to do. And if you're a parent that's active in your child's life, that you enforce that your child do the same. It's eye-opening, and it broadens their horizons as they grow up. Let's continue.
It's different. If you're still in that position, listen. Stop caring so much about what other people think and start living your life authentically. Yes, caring what others think is healthy. However, it becomes hurtful when we try to change ourselves just to be liked by others. You would enjoy your time on this floating rock far more if you choose to live your authentic self. And if someone rejects you because of it, you'll know that they were never meant for you in the first place. Now, if that sounds like a lofty dream and not really grounded in reality, I understand. Because the sad truth of this entire thing is that we do need to be judged fairly by others. At its core, that's what makes our society work. We agree that something is law, and whoever breaks it gets judged. We agree on certain moral principles, and whoever breaks them gets socially ostracized. We're judged at our places of work, in school, in our society as a whole. As sad as it sounds, gossip and ostracism help the greater good of the group. In 2014, Stanford professor Rob Willer led a study that explored the relation of gossip and ostracism to the harmony and functionality of experimental groups. In this study, Rob found out that groups that allowed their members to gossip and vote out underperforming members were able to sustain cooperation and prevent selfishness much better than groups that weren't allowed to do so. When we think of ostracism, we almost always see it in a bad light. However, this study proved that it does have a much more important role in preventing the weak and vulnerable from being bullied and ridden upon. Have you ever been in a group for a school project only to quickly realize that there's one person who just wouldn't do anything because they know the group will pick up their slack? How's that make you feel? Now imagine you could remove these people from the group and then gossip to other groups about how bad of a team player they are. It might seem harsh at first, but because of our innate fear of being ostracized, more often than not, these people would see the reality of what they're doing.
All right, so I'm going to stop it right there. See, this is a point that I've been trying to make in a not so eloquent manner. The fact that we have started to pander to these individuals that he's talking about in this video, those that don't do, we lift them up and give them participation awards. And I'm talking about all facets of life. We lift these individuals up and we pander to them. We don't ostracize, we don't shame, we don't course correct. Hey Mona, how you doing? And Miss Queen Sunkissed, yep, you learned how to give these fingers. I feel you, because that's the same way I be looking at it. And as I've gotten older and these 50s start creeping in on me, I'm kicking 50 in the butt right now. I'm telling you what, as it's coming up, I get less and less tolerant. You know, there's that human decency. There are the human norms and human values that keep society going. Like this gentleman just mentioned in this video, the things that are regarded as rules of good conduct as a human, right? Then there are the things that people outside of those bounds continue to commit upon society by proxy, and we just let it happen. It doesn't matter what community, doesn't matter what spectrum of society you're coming from. And even as he said here, you know, workplace example, for instance, that 80-20 rule. 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. 20% of your shift are the ones that are actually busting ass. and speaking from experience, I definitely have seen this. So yeah, it's astonishing that because of our own apprehension to being judged, we will not judge another when they are 100% in the wrong and a detriment to the rest of us. Let's continue.
And actually act better when reinvited into the group. It also prevents these selfish people from exploiting the more vulnerable people in the group and allows them to reach their full potential without fear of being taken advantage of. The researchers concluded that exclusion compelled participants to conform to the more cooperative behavior of the rest of the group. So yes, we need to be good team players for the proper functioning of society. However, being part of a group should never be at the expense of our own individuality. We should never get so scared of being ostracized that we do not say the things that matter to us for the fear of being judged. We need to realize that we will get to a...
That's it. The fear of being judged, the fear of being ostracized ourselves, the fear of the judgment that will come from the broader group that we constantly seek approval from.
Point in our lives where we'll begin to assess everything that we've been taught as children. When you start to outgrow old beliefs and walk into new ones, do not be held back by the fear of what everyone who you grew up with would think. Caring about what other people think is necessary for the proper functioning of society. But when caring what other people think affects our abilities to make decisions for ourselves, that's when you need to pause and reconsider. You're a person with their own thoughts, ideas, dreams, and goals. Don't let the fear of being disliked hold you back from expressing that. You want to drop out of school to become a comedian? What would people think? You want to start a YouTube channel? What would people think? You want to be with someone from a different culture or religion? What would people think? This one question holds so many people back from doing what they love. It's like a chain that binds our neck and leaves us no room to breathe.
And see, for me, when I ask these questions, when I ask myself these questions as I go upon a new venture, or I go to embark upon something new in my life, I wonder. I always consider the repercussions of what my actions are. I don't just ask these questions in my journey in life in vain. I don't just ask these questions and lead myself down these paths or decide to take this road less traveled in my life without putting full thought and being mindful of what my actions, how my actions will have repercussions, what the repercussions will be on me, as well as those around me. And too often, I think a lot of us in society that decide to do this and decide to go our own way and decide to go our own path don't look at what the implications are at all. They're not mindful. That's human, and that's part of the human journey. But I'm here to say that it only behooves us to be better. All right, let's continue.
We're like circus elephants, held back by a rope that might only exist in our imagination. Ultimate freedom is having the courage to be disliked. The boldness to stand firm in what you believe in, even when the crowd is saying something else. The courage to stand when everyone else is sitting, and run when everyone else is standing. The courage to be your authentic self, regardless of what everyone around you tells you to be instead. Developing the courage to be disliked is not easy. Remember that it's in our nature to care what other people think. So to stray from that even minutely would mean going against our very own biology, and that's never very easy. But the good news is that we can actually do it. The first and most important thing to realize is that everyone, just like you, is worried about their own insecurities. When we go out into the world, we're often so consumed with our own insecurities that we feel like everyone else is thinking about us and condemning us. But the reality is, more often than not, just like you, people are so worried about themselves that they aren't really thinking about anyone else. And when they do speak out against us, they're often projecting their insecurities on us.
Yeah, and that's very true. Whenever you're, so, you know, there's trolls, there's haters, and then there's just people who are just detractors to any line of thinking. And when the conversation breaks down to the point of insult, when the conversation breaks down to the point of shaming, when the conversation breaks down to the point of no longer being productive, what you're seeing from the other party is their own pain. what you're seeing from the other party is emphatically everything that they are projecting outward onto you. And in most cases, in more cases than not, they need therapy. But again, that's a topic for another day. Today we're talking about being the one who is expressing those ideas and who is standing on their square.
Trying to bring us down to feel better about themselves. Don't let them do that. The difference between ostracization in early humans and what we have today is that with the early humans, it was only your closest relatives and members of your clan that could cast you out. However, today, because of social media, anyone and everyone can have an opinion about what we have to share that opinion, and we're forced to take notice of it. The problem with this is that we're taking criticism from people we wouldn't take advice from. Think about it. If you wouldn't let this stranger into your house for fear of invading your privacy, why would you let them into your head, the most private place of all?
Absolutely. So as I'm expressing my ideas here on YouTube, as I express my ideas on my podcast and you know, my friends and listeners consume it across Spotify, for someone to tell me that what I've researched, what I've looked into, what I've decided would be my topic to share with you is irrelevant or is completely mistaken or is completely wrong, or they want to belittle me for whatever reason they choose. You know, for someone to do that and to be able to get into the head of the creator, you know, in this case would be me, is unacceptable. You have to build a boundary. You have to build a firewall. You have to build some kind of protection for yourself that inevitably manifests itself into your courage to be able to stand in your square and to do this, to be this content creator, to be this person that is sharing this message. And while toxic viral messages, just the same, can have the same energy behind it, let's only hope that we're using what we have, our platforms, to share good, to share positive.
Sometimes the people judging you and not letting you live your true potential aren't strangers. They're childhood friends and relatives. When that's the case, we need to remind ourselves that the consequences of living outside the group is not as sinister as it used to be. You have the tools and resources to thrive away from your primary group. And in fact, you can find another group to join, one that would accept you for who you are, and not try to force you into being something you're not. I know I've said some negative things about social media in this video and many others, but there are some positives as well. In this scenario where you no longer feel part of the group you were born into or grew up in, the internet offers you a community of people who are willing to accept you from all over the world. You just have to take the time to find them. Lao Tzu wrote in Tao Te Ching, "Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner." The courage to be disliked is the key that opens the prison doors and sets you free to be the person you've always wanted to be.
That's right. Open the prison doors and let yourself out to be the person that you've always wanted to be. Never mind what you're hearing from those around you. I think it's a great message. I think that was rather inspirational and something that I had to reflect upon, you know, and as I always, you know, waffle and spiral on the philosophical shit, you know, I had to reflect on this. I had to reflect on what my initial motivation was behind starting a podcast. And I know my buddy out there, Sis Mona, I know you went through it too. I seen one of your community posts where you wanted to throw your hands up and say, "This is it. I am done with this." And those moments come. Those moments come. You know, and for me, going back to, you know, my initial script regarding this episode, for me, a lot of that came from the angst of others in social media platforms, and, you know, sidelining conversations from others and regarding my social media posts. And like I said, my social media posts sting. They sting. They're nasty. nasty, especially on Facebook. And we know Facebook is boomer book. We know that there's a lot of boomers and the tail end of the Gen Xers that are out there, and the fifis, and they don't appreciate candid conversation. So I ramp it up, I crank it up, I light it up on them. We got the upcoming episode about baby mamas and their and the fallacies around the struggle. We got that coming up. And, as a primer to that, I let loose on some posts on the Facebook about baby mamas. And Father's Day is coming up. Baby daddies is going to catch it too. I don't know why anybody would think that I would be impartial. Everybody's going to catch flame from me. They're going to catch heat because I see what society is becoming. I see it around me. I see my friends and family and colleagues' families. I see these things firsthand. So, if these people aren't going to, heed the warning of the fact that this is a platform in which I address these topics, I can't help them. I can't help them. I can't help those fifis. And the gender war. Yeah, and I'm not taking no sides on either on from any perspective on that, but I don't really care about the gender war and the bigger perspective on things. I only care about my perspective. Dating is a little bit difficult, and I care about kids. I care about children because I've met the adults that were those children, right? I've seen what happens to us as a people. I've seen what happens to us as an ethnic group. And I see what happens to us as people in general. So, hey, I'm gonna light these people up. Winter's over with, but I'm about to heat the summer up for everybody. Once we're out of that, as usual, business as usual. We're gonna do interviews. We're gonna run some specials for travel. We're gonna run some specials for my local homies. We're gonna run some specials for mental health. That's a big one. We're we believe we're in mental health month right now, but yeah, we're gonna keep pushing it, and we're gonna keep beating the drum of mental health, making sure that everybody out there does what they should do for themselves, because there's a lot of it lacking. And again, we might have to pull from some social media examples of a need for mental health. And yeah, Mona, no matter if it's men or women, it's everybody. It's everybody. But yeah, y'all, today was just a short one. I wanted to get this off my chest. This is more or less like a part two of a message that I had out there earlier. I posted to my personal Facebook. Y'all don't need to know that, but a reintroduction to the fact that I have this podcast and that I will address issues that are diverse, equitable, and inclusive of everyone and their fifis. Every good and bad experience we go through. And I will be the bad guy. I will be. And I acknowledge that, and I 100% embrace it. I love y'all, and thank you for joining me on my journey. Mona D, Miss Queen, I see y'all out there. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Catch the replay if you missed the opener in the beginning. Things will get better with technology as I go, and look for future episodes. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Thank you. Peace out, everybody. Big up yourselves.
Bye.